College basketball is in your immediate future. NC State will play host to Duke. The tip-off is just minutes away.
Coming up on ESPN, we got a good one for you. Grayson Allen and the Duke Blue Devils at North Carolina State. Wolfpack, Blue Devils. Great college basketball in prime time on ESPN. The countdown to college basketball, you see 3.5 minutes away. Marvin Bagley the third, 11 double-doubles this year. He'll be an NBA lottery pick next year.
Fellas, thank you very much, and welcome to Saturday Showcase, presented by 5 Hour Energy. A sea of red here at PNC Arena in Raleigh, because the team in blue has traveled from Durham, the #2 ranked Duke Blue Devils, to take on the NC State Wolfpack in an ACC battle tonight. As you can hear and see and hopefully feel, it's a pretty good environment here right now. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, a belated Happy New Year, and glad you're with us tonight. You will see tonight arguably the best offensive team in the nation in the Duke Blue Devils.
And maybe one of the best offensive teams that Mike Krzyzewski's ever had at Duke. It's a team that's averaging 1.25 points per possession. To put that into context, that's in the top 3 all-time since KenPom.com has been keeping those efficiency stats. Duke puts 5 pros on the floor. They're the best rebounding team in the country, the best offensive rebounding team in the country, and that's because they have the best tandem of big guys in the country in Marvin Bagley III and Wendell Carter Jr. Those two are rebounding terrors. They can run the floor. They are quick and explosive off the floor. They have 94 dunks, this Duke team does, largely because of Bagley and Carter. This is a formidable front line, and NC State has to keep Duke off the glass, and they have to get back in transition to have any hope of beating this team.
Duke 1-1 in the league so far. NC State coming off a 30-point loss at Notre Dame midweek. They are 0-2. They do control the opening tip. As we show you the Wolfpack lineup. Abdul Malik Abu back into the starting lineup tonight after coming off the bench. And keep an eye on Torin Dorn, a really versatile player. Can do some good things for the Wolfpack inside and out. This is Dorn, 15-footer goes. For the Blue Devils, the same starting 5, Jay, that Mike Krzyzewski's put out there for every game this season.
Well, it's a starting 5, barring injury, all of them will play in the NBA. This is a formidable group of athletes that Duke can play on the offensive end. It's defense where the Blue Devils need to improve.
Offensive rebound, Wendell Carter Jr. Duke, an extraordinary offensive rebounding team, and that's #1 on Kevin Keats' list to keep the Blue Devils off the offensive glass. Of course, easier said than done. Al Freeman 1-on-1 with Grayson Allen. And down to the Blue Devils.
NC State playing off Trevon Duval, who got down the floor there in transition. An excellent point guard that is leading the ACC in assists, but he has only made 6 threes on the season, and opponents are laying off him, asking him to prove it.
Baseline jumper goes down, so a couple of good bounces so far for the Wolfpack. And now the long pass taken away by the Pack. Back comes Dorn. Full head of steam.
North Carolina State, when they score, now all of a sudden the Wolfpack can put on full court pressure. And this has not been an efficient offensive team, NC State, so they haven't been able to put up much pressure full court.
Duval gets inside and lays it in with the left hand.
I'm not sure NC State even knew what defense they were in. It looked like some guys were playing zone, some guys were playing man. Definitely not a communicative Pack team on the defensive end.
And it will stay with the Wolfpack. Duval takes a tumble, but he's okay. Kevin Keats, his first year as head coach here in Raleigh after a very successful run at UNC Wilmington. 3 regular season titles in 3 years, a couple of tournament berths.
How about the footwork of Bill Covington Jr., the official? Was able to avoid that collision, moved his feet and stayed on his feet and made the call.
Bill Covington along with Tim Nestor and Dwayne Gladden, the officials here in Raleigh tonight. Omer Yurtseven misses the left-handed hook, And Marvin Bagley down with a loose ball. How about the game that Bagley had against Florida State?
Well, both Bagley and Carter were magnificent against Florida State. And there's Wendell Carter Jr. with the stick back because nobody boxes him out. 2-2-1, three-quarter court pressure right now for, actually it's 1-2-2. But that 32 points and 21 rebounds that Marvin Bagley III put up against Florida State, I can't remember anybody ever doing that, certainly as a freshman. But a 30-20 game with 11 offensive rebounds, that was incredible.
There's Duval with the attempt, and then Carter with the offensive glass. Again, that was the #1 thing Kevin Keatts was worried about, was Duke getting on the offensive glass, and with the likes of Carter and Bagley, you can understand why.
Well, but the problem there was they allowed transition, and Trevon Duval was able to get all the way to the rim. And when you come over to try to block or challenge a shot, all of a sudden you're dealing with a rotation, and who you're asking a guard to block out Wendell Carter. It's not going to happen.
And way too open in the corner is Gary Trent Jr., who knocks down the three to give the Blue Devils the lead.
It's funny, both Gary Trent Jr. and Grayson Allen in the 2 ACC games have really struggled shooting the ball. But Duke is still putting up, even with those 2 really good shooters struggling, Duke's still putting up over 90 points a game in ACC play.
Bagley with a rejection, a follow for Abdul Malik Abu. Duke in transition again. Trent rejected by Yurtseven. Loose ball down to Carter, who battles and has a chance for a three-point play.
You're only going to get one chance to grab the ball. And Omer Yurtseven did not grab the ball when he had the opportunity after making a really good block, going straight up. When he had a chance to grab it, he didn't. And Wendell Carter Jr. is right there. And one thing you notice about Wendell Carter Jr., every time he goes after the ball, it's with 2 hands. Every single time. And both he and Bagley are, and you hear this a lot, but it's not always true. They're both above the rim rebounders.
4 offensive rebounds in 3 minutes and 34 seconds for the Blue Devils. So that is warning sign #1 for North Carolina State.
Well, they've come off transition opportunities, and NC State wants Duke to have to play 5-on-5 in the half court. If this is an up and down game, NC State's going to have a really difficult time winning this.
Braxton Beverly puts up a 3. The young man out of Hazard, Kentucky, who got caught in the middle of that lengthy NCAA situation, finally was granted by the NCAA the ability to play for NC State. He signed it at Ohio State. Thad Matta got fired. Beverly decided to take a summer course, and then they didn't want to let him go. Finally, the right thing was done. They let him go, and he's playing here in Raleigh. A national championship preview when we come back.
You got to run the ball, you got to throw the ball, you got to keep the ball off the ground.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100%. And in part by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM.
You got 2 dominant physical teams.
Big boy Deron Payne with the ball. How about it? Sonny Michel will send the Dogs home to the championship game. Georgia and Alabama for the College Football Playoff National Championship.
The College Football Playoff National Championship game presented by AT&T. Georgia and Alabama Monday night at 8 Eastern with the Crimson Tide seeking their 5th national title in the last 9 years. It's an all-SEC affair.
And Nick Saban, the greatest of all time in college football. And I can't wait to see whether it's going to be Alabama or Georgia gaining a share of the national championship with UCF.
Who celebrated, right? They went undefeated. They said, hey, we're the champs.
Parade and everything.
Yeah, it was great. By the way, in basketball today, if you believe in omens, Georgia defeated Alabama 65-46.
Isn't that like the par 3 tournament at the Masters?
Three-pointer well short. And back come the Blue Devils with the ball at a 1-point lead. They look inside. Bagley has it knocked away, but it remains with Duke.
Well, that was an alert play by Braxton Beverly. And you can't just throw the ball to the offense when you're feeding the post. You have to see behind him, because that was just leading Marvin Bagley III into that. But I don't think that Duke can throw the ball into Bagley and Carter enough.
Bagley over Abu, soft touch.
And that's why every time Bagley and Carter touch the ball in the post, something good happens. And it gives the other a chance for an offensive rebound if you miss.
Dorn for three. And Bagley down with the rebound. Bagley has 11 double-doubles on the season. Turnover Duke. Beverly trying to push it. Beverly trying to finish it. And no shot there. Duval back to knock it away.
NC State cannot get caught up into shooting too quickly.
And Allen in transition with a dunk at the other end.
One thing that North Carolina State cannot do is settle. And even though that looked open for Braxton Beverly, he not only had Trevon Duval there to block that shot, or Duval. There's a change now. I got to get used to that. He changed the pronunciation of his name today for us, and, or at least alerted us that he wanted it differently. But what I'm saying is Braxton Beverly trying to take the ball to the basket. If it wasn't Duval, it would have been Marvin Bagley III wiping that thing away. You know, you got the turnover, bring it down, run some offense, and then get the shot.
So there's the young man you were talking about, who until the last couple of days was known as Trevon Duval. But he has alerted the Duke SID, Mike George, and the rest of the folks at Duke that his name is actually supposed to be pronounced Trevon, not Trayvon or Trayvon. Trevon, and it's Duval, not Duval. So he has has corrected mistakes.
That's right.
He has corrected mistakes in the pronunciation of both his first and his last name 15 games into the season. So from now on, it is Trevon Duval.
And from now on, I need you to call me Anthony Dorsett.
Didn't it start off as Dorset? 7-point lead, Blue Devils. He's been one of the very best players in college basketball this year, scoring, rebounding, and just at times, Jay, dominating when he's out there.
Well, he has been dominant, averaging about 23 points per game, almost 12 rebounds, over 4 offensive rebounds per game. And so explosive off the floor. He's got great quickness, an amazing touch, and he never seems to get tired.
And arguably the top 2 players in college basketball this season, both playing tonight, with Trae Young in Oklahoma taking on West Virginia over on ESPN2 right now. The game started about an hour ago. And Marvin Bagley III here for Duke against NC State. 2-horse race right now for Player of the Year in college basketball.
Yes, and Trae Young has been Steph Curry-like. He has logo range. He can shoot the ball out on this basketball court from the Wolf's ear, and he's a threat. And you don't see that very often.
And obviously we're not getting a chance to watch that game doing this game with Oklahoma taking on West Virginia. But it will be fascinating to see how that game turns out. What kind of a night Young has against that press Virginia defense that he's going to see in Morgantown.
Well, he's going to have a lot of opportunities. West Virginia gives you the opportunity to turn the ball over, but they also give you the opportunity to get something good.
Wow, what a drive. LeVar Batts Jr., a freshman out of Concord, North Carolina, with a strong finish.
Well, LeVar Batts Jr. gives a little bit of quickness out on the floor. And without Markel Johnson, who played, the first 10 games or so, that's forced Braxton Beverly to be the point guard. And Batts can come in and play 10, 15 minutes a game. But he has to come in and have a positive contribution, not turn the ball over.
That's the first signee of the Kevin Keatts era here with Raleigh. Coach Keatts excited about what he's got coming in next year. He's got 4 freshmen. Has a transfer coming from Ohio State, and a couple of transfers who are sitting out this year. 2 players that you think have a chance to be pretty special.
Well, Devin Daniels, a sophomore from Battle Creek, Michigan, who transferred in from Utah, is a very talented player. One of these guys that's always in the gym. He's a double-figure scorer for Larry Kristoviak, and he dominated practice yesterday, the best player on the floor.
Javin DeLaurier called for a travel.
And North Carolina State's pressure, and they've been able to put the pressure on because they've been scoring. That's given Duke a little bit of an opportunity to speed up, but they've turned it over a couple times. The one thing North Carolina State has to do, they can't do it all off the dribble. They have to move the ball first. The success that NC State's had early in the game is because the ball is moved from side to side, and then they've made the Duke defense make a mistake from there.
High point of the season for the Wolfpack was their win over Arizona down in the Bahamas. And when we asked Coach Keats before the game, what was the biggest reason you won that game? That's the first thing he said. The ball didn't stick. It moved from side to side.
Arizona took another loss today.
Yes.
Colorado. And what a weekend for Colorado to beat Arizona State and then turn out to beat Arizona.
Wow, that was pretty. Bats to Freeman. What an extra gear Bats has. The young man, a freshman, playing against Duke for the first time. He's got that look in his eye right now.
He's guarding Grayson Allen now. Has to stay down on shot fakes.
Duval lobs it up. Carter fouled.
It's so hard to come off of Wendell Carter Jr. try to make a play because Trevon Duval's just going to lob that up to him. And look at this, just taken on, and really in the exchange, Carter and Allen got in each other's way. And that allowed Bats to just blow by and get all the way to the rim. But there was nobody in help side position seeing the ball. And that's really where the youth of this team shows up, is in help side. You know, they do a pretty decent job guarding the ball. Every once in a while they get blown by. But it's the help side defense that's often a little bit too man-oriented, which happens with a lot of young teams. This isn't the only one, but there's more youth on this Duke team than most other teams in America.
Carter knocks him down, and the Blue Devils lead by 4 just about 8 minutes into the game. Beverly's gone to the bench. So Bats at the point right now. Long pass ahead. And again, North Carolina State breaks the pressure. Remember, they are playing without Markel Johnson, as you mentioned, suspended and out indefinitely for a violation of the student-athlete conduct code. More on that as time allows. 20-16. We'll go inside the series between Duke and NC State when we come back. Well, these two programs go all the way back to 1912. This is the 247th meeting between Duke and North Carolina State, with Duke leading 146-100. Duke has dominated recently, but NC State won at Cameron last year for the first time since 1995. Dennis Smith now with the NBA with the Dallas Mavericks at 32 points and a 2-point win, an 84-82 win for the Wolfpack. The Blue Devils did something they don't normally do, Jay. That for a game here or at North Carolina, they don't normally, the morning of the game, come to the opposing building and do their walkthrough here, but they did do that this morning here in this building.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever seen Duke do that before, but with such a young team, and they're on break right now, so there's nobody on campus that gives them an opportunity to break the day up. But Duke has gone the last couple of possessions into a 2-3 zone, and then both out of bounds under, out of bounds on the side. They were in that 2-3 zone, and that allows their big guys to stay positioned. They don't have to go out and guard ball screens as much. And it's been something Mike Krzyzewski has played more zone this year than any year I can remember.
Trent too strong in the floater, but taps it back out to Duval.
Smart play to tap it back out. And another turnover. It's 5.
Dorn, and a foul. He got tripped. And the foul is going to be called, I believe, on Duval. No, it's on Grayson Allen. His first.
Well, there's an opportunity there for Torin Dorn to attack in transition where it's more of a fair fight. And he was able to draw that foul. And Dorn has struggled in ACC play. Both he and Al Freeman have really had a difficult time scoring in ACC competition, but they've done a better, or at least Dorn has done a better job in this game of finding opportunities.
It's Freeman with the ball right now. He's the leading scorer for the Wolfpack, better than 15 a game. That's too strong, and the rebound down to Allen.
See, the zone forces a team like NC State to stand around more. It's not the type of thing they attack quite as well as they would a man-to-man. So good call by Duke to go into that zone just to switch things up a little bit.
And now Dorn called for the foul. Kevin Keats trying to keep their spirits high. They start on the road at Clemson and on the road at Notre Dame. They lose both of those 2 games. Then they come home to play Duke. Then they're going to play Clemson again this week and then go to Virginia. A difficult way for a team still getting to know one another with a new head coach. A difficult way to start conference play.
I don't know where the easy ones are.
Yeah, not in this league. Bagley baseline around Abu, and he lays it in.
Yeah, what do? You force Marvin Bagley off the lane. He catches it 2 steps off the lane. And whether right side or left side, he can face you up. The only thing he's not going to do is shoot over you from 15 feet there. While he's going to be able to get past it. His feet are so good. He's so quick and explosive. It's an offensive foul.
Yep, and Abu gets called for that foul.
And watch Marvin Bagley III when he catches the ball. Like oftentimes when you make a big guy catch it that far off the lane, your work's pretty much done. But he's able to spin and get all the way around. And again, no help side defense. You got to be in the middle of the lane there. Your 7's got to be there to block or challenge that shot. And you can get a rotation down that can take away that little dump off pass to Wendell Carter Jr.
But if you're going to go one-on-one in the post with Marvin Bagley, it's all over. You have no chance.
Bagley fouled on the drive. Your 7 can't believe the call.
It wasn't on him. It was on Dorn. Dorn got him on the arm.
You're right. And number 2 on Dorn. But how many big guys would even attempt to do what Bagley just did? Dribble the ball over half court and try to drive it all the way to the basket.
Just guys like Kevin Durant, although that ilk. I mean, this guy is special. And one of the things I find remarkable isn't just how good Marvin Bagley III is, but he has taken all the air out of everything so that, with his performance against Florida State, it was almost forgotten by people outside the ACC that Wendell Carter had 16 rebounds in that game. He had 14 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 blocks.
Yeah, and completely got overshadowed.
If Marvin Bagley had not reclassed and come into college this year, we'd be talking about Wendell Carter Jr. and DeAndre Ayton as the 2 best big guys in the country.
A lot of firsts up there for Marvin Bagley III, and another first that could come his way is first overall pick in the NBA draft, although guys like Ayton and Trae Young may have something to say about that.
Boy, really slacking off in the field goal percentage category. Second in that one. He's going to have to really pick it up. How disappointed.
Freeman guarded by Trent. Trent tips it away. Duke's got the ball and numbers. Duval coast to coast, and a chance for 3.
That's where Ravon Duval can be special, and that's in the open court. And way too much dribbling on the part of NC State. Al Freeman getting knocked away by Gary Trent Jr. And Duval is so long-armed. I mean, he's 6'4", but he's got the wingspan of a guy 6'9". And his hands are big. He's strong. He's got really good quickness. The only thing he does not do is shoot it consistently well from the perimeter. But everything else, he's really, really good.
And how good was he at the end of the game against Florida State, which, by the way, was one of the best games of the season, 193. Duval either scored or assisted on 17 of the last 20 points for the Blue Devils in that game.
And he had foul trouble all game long. Last 6.5 minutes, he was spectacular. And to play with those 4 fouls, and he said after the game that Coach K had told him, play like you've got none. And he did. I mean, he played even better than that because he didn't pick up another one. He got none. Sometimes you play a little loose, like you can go ahead and foul.
Well, they were lined up as if it were going to be a shooting foul, but it's not. It's Wolfpack ball on the baseline. Suddenly they're down by 10. And if you're really competing and hanging around for the first 7 or 8 minutes, Duke's extended his lead out here recently.
NC State has to get some movement against this zone. Somebody's got to get into the middle.
That's behind the back, step back jumper. High degree of difficulty on that play from Bats. Duke again in transition, and again a foul. Now more college hoops action coming your way. Super Tuesday doubleheader here on ESPN. We'll be at Lexington to see Texas A&M take on Kentucky, and then Purdue and Michigan from Ann Arbor in the second game. Both games also available on the ESPN app. You've been quite impressed recently by the Purdue Boilermakers.
Purdue is one of 2 teams that are in the top 10 in adjusted offensive and defensive efficiency in the country in both categories. Michigan State being the other, and Michigan State's the only team in the country in the top 5 in both those categories. I think Purdue is an undervalued team. Can't remember whether they ranked about 12th now. They are better than 12th.
And adjusted offensive efficiency, for those who don't know, is points per possession adjusted to also reflect the caliber of your competition. So it's not like you can just run it up on bad teams. And Leonard Freeman inside with a strong move.
Another really good pass by Batts and a terrific catch and finish by Leonard Freeman.
Batts giving North Carolina State some good minutes.
This is an area where NC State's going to have to get some stops because this can get away from him right here. Great shot fake.
And Carter steps in, leaves the 2 short. Al Freeman down with the rebound.
Al Freeman transferred in his grad transfer from Baylor, from Charlotte.
And he gets fouled on a 3 by Gary Trent Jr.
Yeah, really the only thing that you couldn't do there. Thought Duke forced NC State into maybe a questionable shot. And then that's the cardinal sin of basketball, is fouling a jump shooter, especially a three-point shooter. Just using that little brush drag screen in transition. And Gary Trent Jr. coming underneath it. And you just have to get a hand up. You just don't block jump shots. You want to challenge them, but you don't block them very often.
Freeman has led the Wolfpack in scoring 7 times this year. Hit 24 in their win over Arizona. Hit 7 threes in a win over Jacksonville, but coming off kind of a rough outing against Notre Dame during the week. The Irish beat North Carolina State by 30 on Wednesday. That was without Bonzie Colson and without Matt Farrell for most of the game, because he rolled his ankle about 10 minutes in. The Irish today go to Syracuse, no Colson, no Farrell, come from behind and beat the Orange by 2 on a bucket by Rex Pfluger in the closing seconds.
It was a really incredible win for Notre Dame without Farrell and Colson to be able to go into the Carrier Dome and accomplish that.
Boy, a wild scramble on the glass, and finally Yurtseven will lay it in, and a momentum swinging it back to the pack.
North Carolina State is really showing a tremendous amount of fight. They are outmatched physically and talent-wise. But heart-wise, they are right in this.
It was 10 moments ago. It's down to 4 right now. Batts driving again, and it goes.
Just right off the first action in the first side of the floor. Batts broke Duke's defense down off the side ball screen.
Great minutes off the bench for the freshman Batts tonight. Allen pulls up from 18, won't go. 3-on-2 Wolfpack. And the 3 from the corner for Sam Hunt. North Carolina State has the lead. Back into Raleigh, Dan Schulman and Jay Billis, and a 12-1 run for the Wolfpack. Jay, what's been the key here?
Well, NC State is just out scrapping Duke right now of this last period, just off a normal rebound by Yurtseven. They turned that into a 3-on-2 break, and Sam Hunt running wide, the grad transfer from North Carolina A&T, everybody inside the lane. But for one of the first times that I can remember of the games I've seen, Wendell Carter and Marvin Bagley not getting back. I mean, those are 2 guys that can really run, and beaten down the floor by Yurtseven, who grabbed the rebound himself and beat those 2 superior athletes down the floor.
Duke dominated early on the offensive glass. NC State on a run right now. Bench points are 12-0 for the Wolfpack. And they might add to that as Leonard Freeman is going to go to the foul line now for the Pack.
Being in an opposing arena, Duke went on the road to play Boston College. That was the first ACC road game for these freshmen. And being at NC State, I mean, this is a big, raucous crowd, and it always is for the Duke and the North Carolina games here in this building. It is a different experience, and you can tell a freshman all you want about what it's like to play on the road in the ACC. You have to go through it. It is really, really difficult to win in these environments.
And of course, when Duke comes to town, I think this goes for Kansas and Kentucky and other programs as well. That's the one they circle on the calendar above all others. Say the same for Carolina, Michigan State.
Yeah, you get it almost doesn't do you a run
but you don't get a feel for the intensity that you're going to face if you're a team like Duke or North Carolina or you mentioned Kansas, because you know NC State did not play with this level of intensity against they just didn't.
Another Duke turnover. Meanwhile, moments ago at the other end of the floor, it looked like Duval, as he stumbles right there, you can see him grimacing, and he's been stretching his leg out at times as time allowed ever since then. Something bothering him on his right leg.
Around the 2-3 zone to see if NC State tries to screen it. Duval is so good getting his hand into passing lanes.
We're at 7 from the free throw line. Boy, they made that one look pretty easy.
He's very, very skilled. And that's why they've got to keep the ball on the perimeter and then look to drive it into a gap or pass it into the middle. What a pass.
And Bagley with a finish and a chance for 3.
And hurt leg or not, Trevon Duval stayed so low to the ground and was able to make that pass. Just a little pick and roll, and that was beautiful right around the knee of Yurt 7. And that was a very tight window to be able to put that ball through. And Marvin Bagley III was expecting it.
Bagley 61% from the free throw line on the season, leaves this one short. Wolfpack giving Duke all they can handle so far, but now nearly a turnover.
It didn't look like Freeman was even looking at the ball when it was passed to him.
Was fortunate to come up with it, being hounded by Allen. The crowd wanted to foul. Hunt, a three-point shooter. He's taken 74 shots this year. 63 of them have been three-point attempts. Boy, Yurt 7 had a pretty good look at the rim in the middle of that zone again.
He's kept his poise in there, not panicking, not going too fast. But geez, even when you miss a shot, Duke able to get the ball down court quickly, and NC State unable to stop the ball. That's why the best thing you can do if you're NC State to help your defense is be efficient on offense and score. And if you miss a shot, if you turn the ball over, it's going to be a break the other end. If you make Duke take it out of the net, then you've got an opportunity to play 5-on-5 on the other end.
Freeman baseline, bounce pass to Leonard Freeman. Al to Leonard, and the Wolfpack back on top.
A terrific drive, and Leonard Freeman went hard to the basket there.
Yurt 7 with an impressive rejection at the other end.
Yurt 7 threw that 7 rows into the stands.
He's a sophomore from Turkey, averaging better than 11 points, almost 7 rebounds, and almost 2 blocks per game. Allen off the inbounds, too easy.
Boy, a second cutter. The defense worried about Wendell Carter, and then Grayson Allen just cut so hard right behind him to the ball and found himself open.
All knotted up at 33.
Not a good shot. Even though he was open, that's not a pass made. Nobody there to rebound. Defense wasn't made to move.
Trent cradles it and gets it to go. Blue Devils back on top.
Gary Trent is so strong. He's physically gifted. You know, they didn't make freshmen like this back in the day. These guys look like they were made in a lab somewhere.
4 freshmen in the starting lineup all season long for the Blue Devils.
Ball is sticking right now. It needs to move more.
Hunt for 3. Too strong, tipped out of bounds to Duke.
Especially to a team that doesn't know each other particularly well with the new system. This zone has caused some problems for North Carolina State. And on that last possession, they've handled it pretty well. When they've gotten the ball inside, gotten it to Yurt 7 at the top, they've had some good shots. But if you're just going to pass it around the perimeter and then take a perimeter jumper, that's what Duke wants them to do.
Braxton Beverly back into the game for the Wolfpack. Bagley, boy. Man, what an assertive move. Kind of it looked like a low percentage opportunity, but he made it work. He doesn't have low percentage opportunities, does he?
Well, he's left-handed, just gets to that left hand. And you know, he's going against a guy in Yurt 7 that's got length and shot blocking ability.
Duke's such a good offensive rebounding team. Carter's not in there right now. Delorier is, but oftentimes when you take a shot, as long as, even if it's missed, it's a good opportunity for a second shot.
Saved by Leonard Freeman. The ball still live. It belongs to NC State. You're at 7 underneath. Yes.
Well, Yurt 7 has been very alert. And I like the way he has not been sped up. He's showed a ton of poise when he's caught the ball.
Good battle between Yurt 7 and Bagley inside. Duval gets it to go. Man, he is as tough a guard to keep out of the lane as there is in the college game.
Well, he got a switch. He had Braxton Beverly switched off on him. And as soon as he saw that, he immediately said, I'm driving this. And got it all the way to the rim.
And Duval now with 9. Bagley leads Duke with 11. All 8 players who have played in the game for NC State have scored.
There's an overload on the right side.
Al Freeman, mid-range jumper not there, and Trent with a rebound. Fast-moving first half. Good up and down pace here between the Blue Devils and the Wolfpack.
Yeah, there haven't been a lot of fouls. All teams have played hard, but haven't been slowed down by a bunch of fouls.
Bagley wants it again. Why not? A little clear out for him now. Here comes the help. The kick. The 3. And rebound Freeman.
Nice job by Yurt 7 to keep that ball alive.
Foul from behind on Javin Delorier to take us to a timeout. Up and down the fair, the lead changing hands, and it's the Blue Devils, the number 2 team of the nation, are currently up by 4. It's been a strong first half for Marvin Bagley III. Gary Trent, another guy helping out. Duke by 4. You're watching the ACC on ESPN.
Kev, Jay, and Seth in studio coming up on the Alfa Romeo halftime report. Check in on Trae Young in an absolute cage fight with West Virginia. North Carolina is 1-2 in ACC play. I'm sure that's devastating news for our audience here. And the Wolfpack hanging around.
Yeah, for NC State, you get the ball in the middle of the zone, utilize a head fake, get one of the bigs up in the air, crack into them, try to get the bigs into foul trouble for Duke.
Look, Duke is ridiculous offensively, but until they can be disruptive defensively, they're not the team that can win a national championship.
Dan and Jay will see you at the half.
All right, Kevin, fellas, thank you very much. Yeah, North Carolina lost today at Virginia. They were just stymied by that pack line defense of the Wahoo. So Virginia's now 3-0 in the league. Clemson to beat Louisville in overtime today. So Virginia, Clemson, and Notre Dame are 3-0 in league play. Everybody else has at least one loss right now.
It's still a little early, but you know, 3 former college players in the studio. You know, Jay Will, National Player of the Year. Kevin Connors was a point guard at Ithaca College. And Seth Greenberg played at Fairleigh Dickinson, where he was fairly mediocre.
You know, you're taking a shot at a guy who has to wait a whole 2 minutes to take a shot back at you.
He'll be fine.
Yeah. He's got thick skin. 4-point lead, Duke over NC State. In an entertaining first half for PNC Arena and Raleigh. Duke 1-1 in the league. And the Wolfpack 0-2. Shot clock down to 6. Open in the corner, Hunt. Not open anymore, but a foul with 2 seconds left on the shot clock.
Just a bailout because Hunt had nowhere to go. And now he can step to the free throw line. And Hunt's an excellent three-point shooter, especially when he's got some time and gets his feet set. 63 of his 74 field goal attempts on the season are three-point attempts.
And he's now a perfect 10 for 10 from the free throw line on the year. Pretty good looking doubleheader there on Tuesdays. You can see, sorry, Jay, with Texas A&M at Kentucky and Purdue at Michigan, although A&M suffered a heartbreaking defeat today with LSU. Tremont Waters making not quite a miracle 3, but an awfully tough 3 at the buzzer to win that game for the Tigers.
Well, at least Texas A&M has DJ Hogue back. He was suspended for 3 games for the violation of university policy. I wonder if they give the university policy to these guys, because it seems to get violated a lot. They always cite that, the university policy.
And that ball over the backboard, so back to NC State. Some notable games today. LSU winning, as we mentioned, at A&M on the Waters 3 with 1 second left. Really entertaining game between Providence and Xavier, two really good teams, and Arizona losing to Colorado. As you mentioned, Buffalo's beat Arizona State on Thursday, so they've had themselves a good couple of days.
Yeah, McKinley Wright, just a freshman, had a really good game. And had a really good game against Arizona State. I mean, that's a great weekend. Good pass.
And then you're at 7 there to clean it up. He's had a terrific first half.
You know, they say press a pressing team, offensive rebound and offensive rebounding team. As NC State has had some second shots.
Trent rises up for a three. And back to the Wolfpack with a chance to retake the lead.
Both Gary Trent and Grayson Allen have struggled a bit from three-point range. Actually, overall, in the two ACC games they've played. But this is what a performance by NC State. I mean, in the two ACC games they've played, they have not had offense anywhere near like they put up in this first half.
10 to shoot. Al Freeman driving. And following it up is your 7. Clock running down to 7 seconds. Blue Devils will have a chance to get a shot off. Duval, that's an offensive foul. The freshman bat stepping in to take the charge.
Not an intelligent play by Trevon Duval. There's no question he just ran bats over. It took some guts to stand in there for that one.
9th turnover committed by Duke. 2.1 seconds remain. And the first half comes to a close with the underdog, NC State Wolfpack, leading the #2 team in the nation, Duke, 43-41. Alfa Romeo halftime report. Kevin and the guys.
All right, Dan, thanks so much. Good one on ESPN. Welcome into the Alfa Romeo halftime report. Kevin Connors, Jay Williams, Seth Greenberg. I'm sitting here and I'm trying to figure out how NC State is in the lead here, 2 points at the half, Seth, with the firepower the Duke Blue Devils have.
Well, they do have firepower, but you got to get stops on the defensive end. They don't have a defensive identity, Duke, whether it's man or zone. They're willing to trade baskets. They don't take anything away. They don't disrupt. They don't make the offense uncomfortable. And because of that, they'll play games like this where people are making shots and controlling the tempo of the game and doing a pretty good job on the glass where it's a close game. They're trying to outscore NC State. And I understand you got to outscore your opponent, but you got to get stops if you're going to be an elite team.
I agree with you. And their personnel isn't suited for when they have two bigs on the court to play man. You're just going to get ball screen to death. That's what we saw NC State do. And then when they go zone, look, teams get hot from the outside. And they do try to beat you on the offensive end, and nobody's questioning their offensive firepower. Their offensive firepower is national championship caliber, but their defense is the same caliber where they can be out in the Sweet 16.
Interesting.
It is.
Yeah. This halftime report is presented by Alfa Romeo.
Leonard Freeman has 7. Al Freeman has 5. Duke has problems. NC State on top. This has been the Alfa Romeo halftime report.
3 years ago in this building, unranked North Carolina State and second-ranked Duke. And it was the Wolfpack pulling off the upset led by Trevor Lacey, who scored 21 points, an 87-75 win. The final for NC State in that game. They're trying to pull off an upset again tonight. They've got the lead going to the second half. Welcome back to Saturday Showcase, presented by 5 Hour Energy. A sea of red, as we said off the top of the show. And the guys in red, well, in white jerseys with red trim, they've been doing a great job. They have played hard. They have battled back on the boards. They've got great work off the bench. And they've got the lead going to the second half. Time now with the State Farm assist to the game.
Well, the passing from North Carolina State has really been excellent. They've had 9 assists on their 16 field goals, and LeVar Batts Jr. came into the game off the bench. He really did some nice things. A little pass along the baseline to Leonard Freeman, and then Al Freeman to Leonard Freeman. Getting the ball inside Braxton Beverly, and Omer Yurtseven had a great first half. 6 rebounds, 10 points for the big guy from Turkey. And he really changed the game with his poise inside, his ability to protect the rim. But the first 4 minutes of this second half are going to be a huge factor in whether NC State can really put some pressure on Duke and wind up winning this game.
There's a travel on Bagley, the 10th turnover committed by the Blue Devils tonight.
That has been a huge factor in this game. 5 turnovers for Trevon Duval and 10 overall for Duke. And anytime you turn the ball over, that's a shot you don't get, but it's also the chance for an offensive rebound. This is the best offensive rebounding team in the country.
Dorn off the glass and good.
A nice little curl off that handoff, and then more poise inside and to pivot and make that shot. That was a big-time play.
Trent can't finish at the rim. You're at 7 down with a rebound, number 7. See what I did there?
That was very good. Your 7 has your 10 points and your 7 rebounds. That's excellent.
Baseline jumper too strong. North Carolina State just looking like an entirely different team than they looked like during the week against Notre Dame. Lay in for the Blue Devils brings them back within 2. Duval going coast to coast.
Well, see, you can see the difference there. When Duke isn't forced to take the ball out of the net and they can get a rebound, then they get out and run. And what a pass that was by Grayson Allen. He's such a good passer to Duval, who was streaking to the basket.
Allen on pace for a career high in assists this year. Acrobatic, athletic move by Al Freeman.
Well, right now, North Carolina State is beating Duke off the dribble. And Freeman just spun right off the body of Wendell Carter Jr., so Carter couldn't get up and block that shot.
Long 2, Wendell Carter Jr.
How much talent does Wendell Carter have? He can step out, knock down a 3. He's got a NBA postgame.
Abu! Up and over Bagley for the jam.
I think his knee feels better.
Sprained MCL has cost him some time this year on a couple of occasions, but he looks just fine tonight. He's a guy, after the games against Clemson and Notre Dame, said to the media he's got to do more. He knows he's got to contribute more for the Wolfpack to be successful.
Well, how did this NC State team lose by 30 to Notre Dame? It seems incomprehensible that that could happen. And Abdul Malik Abu, who's had some big games against Duke in his career, he's a respected player in the ACC. Scored over 1,000 points, over 700 rebounds. And that's a strong move by the senior veteran. How did that ball get through?
I don't know. It's like people had their backs turned or they didn't see the ball. Your 7 knew exactly where it was.
It is amazing that that pass got through without being taken away on out of bounds underneath.
Duke needs a timeout. NC State just needs more. Omer Yurtseven. They're getting a lot from the sophomore from Turkey here tonight.
I don't know how that ball got through, but it did. Yurtseven has been excellent in this game. Absolutely excellent.
NC State getting contributions from a number of players tonight, and none more so than Omer Yurtseven.
Well, Omer Yurtseven averages about 11 points per game, 7 rebounds, 3 of them offensive, and 2 blocks a game. But as good as he has been at different times during the season this year, this has been his best performance. He has been strong in every aspect of the game. And right now, Antonio Brankovic, who has not played against a Power 5 team since the Michigan State game this season, into the game in the front court.
Grayson Allen comes up with a steal and a foul committed by Yurtseven. So Brankovic into the game, replacing Carter, who was the guy who got out wrestled for that ball on the last trip by Yurtseven.
And Marquise Bolden not available in this game, not dressed, because he is battling a grade 1 MCL sprain. I don't know exactly what that means, but he's not dressed.
That is the mildest of the of the spring, so they don't expect it to be that serious, and he is improving, but he is unavailable tonight.
So you must have stayed at the Holiday Inn Express last night. What a play. A nice little back screen by Grayson Allen, not communicated very well by NC State.
You're at 7 for 3, too strong. He's 6 for 9, even with that miss, 6 for 9 from beyond the arc this year. Dorn shovel pass. You said it in the first half. Yurt 7's doing a great job not getting sped up.
Well, his poise when he caught it, just the up fake, and Marvin Bagley Jr. went right up in the air to go after it. He just went to his left hand. Now here's the alley-oop play to Bagley. He just comes up above on the weak side, and then Grayson Allen gives him a little back pick, and it wasn't very well communicated defensively by NC State. You really have to communicate and bump that cutter when the back screen's being set. You have to either switch it or get in his way.
Freeman. You're 7 inside.
Duke is getting cut up right now off the drive and in pick and roll situations. Help side defense not communicating, and NC State totally taking advantage of the Blue Devils. Mike Krzyzewski may have to look at that 2-3 zone again just to change the momentum.
Bagley fouled by Abu on the turnaround. Bagley will be at the free throw line when we come back. Omer Yurt 7 making it happen on the inside for NC State. Taking the pass on from Freeman all alone underneath, and the Wolfpack are up by 8.
Anytime you're guarding a ball screen, it takes all 5 defenders in order to do it. Here's Marvin Bagley guarding Abdul Malik Abu. The ball screen situation going out on top. He tries to stop the ball, but then he goes, hey, wait a minute, my man's out top. He leaves Omer Yurt 7 all alone as the roll man. And Marvin Bagley does a freshman mistake defensively, but it's a mistake that Duke has been making a fair amount in this game. They don't have all 5 guys defending the ball. In a ball screen, the priority is the ball and nothing else.
Duke is 13-1. They're second in the nation, but they have not been a great defensive team this year. They've been an extraordinary offensive team, but when they've played major conference opponents, they're giving up better than 84 points per game and high shooting percentages both inside and outside the arc. Whatever it is that is plaguing at times Duke defensively, Jay, is it fixable in the second half of the season?
It is, and they'll get better at it, but what's plaguing them is youth.
Bagley with a steal. And Bagley with a finish. He's got some skills.
Yeah, that was very well taught. Coach K spent a lot of time working with him on that.
Freeman got caught in the air again, finds Beverly. And contact between Vrankovic and Yurt 7. Vrankovic with a foul.
Antonio Brankovic is a physical player, but a bad pass by Braxton Beverly, too much traffic. And there you see the magnificent talent of Marvin Bagley III. Probably got hit as he was going up, but he took off from just inside that ACC marker. He's such a fluid, magnificent athlete.
And not that he needs to, because he can shoot and he's got a jump hook, but anything he has any chance of dunking, he tries to dunk. He tries to finish with as high a percentage look as he can every single time. Freeman got it. That's a tough shot.
A strong move. And he absorbed a bump from Grayson Allen and wasn't knocked off his path. That's a veteran play right there by Torin Dorn. He's the leading rebounder on this NC State team.
Undersized at 6'5", had to play a lot of the 4 spot until recently when Abu came back. Now playing a little bit more out on the wing. Loose ball to the pack.
Smart play by Beverly. Was probing, it wasn't there, now bring it out and make Duke defend.
He's not really been able to get looks tonight, but he hasn't forced anything. Freeman.
Tough shot. I don't know why you want to take that. That's not the shot that you want. It's a shot that Al Freeman can't make. So now all of a sudden you're in a scramble situation going back defensively.
And Bagley fouled pulled by Yurtseven. That'll be the third foul on Omer Yurtseven.
Marvin Bagley plays so much of this game above the rim. It's really remarkable. I mean, you hear above the rim a lot, but he plays, he rebounds above the rim, he finishes above the rim. He spends a good bit of a game playing above that rim. And his productivity, Dan, I don't think just comes from his talent. Even though he's so fluid and smooth, you might be fooled into thinking that he's not playing incredibly hard. I have yet to see him take a play off.
Well, when we get a chance to speak to Mike Krzyzewski, and he's coached some tremendously talented players, obviously that goes without saying over the years.
But you can keep saying it if you want.
Yeah, with one sitting right beside me.
No, I was not in that group.
But it doesn't happen every year, but it feels to me like every 3 or 4 years, Coach K just feels a little bit more strongly about a certain player. Just, you know, loves what that player has in terms of ability, but also work ethic, intangibles, teammate, that sort of thing. And whenever we talk to Coach K, Marvin Bagley III comes up very, very quickly. And he's got nothing but effusive praise for Bagley.
I thought it was interesting when he talked about how much Bagley wants to learn. He wants to learn every aspect of the game, not just the X and O stuff, but the emotional side of the game, the motivational side, the inspiration side.
Bats with the ball, the freshman giving North Carolina State some big minutes in the first half. And a nice feed into Leonard Freeman for the slam here in the second. And Trent gets hammered.
Boy, LeVar Batts has done a really nice job in this game. And again, just the side pick and roll and the corner open, but Gary Trent not in the middle of the floor. I mean, you have to be right underneath the basket. You know, again, you're having just the 2 guys in the ball screen that are playing the pick and roll. It's got to be all 5 guys. And right now, North Carolina State, in a way, really cutting up Duke with screen and roll in their man-to-man.
Trent's an outstanding free throw shooter, 94% on the season entering this game tonight. Again, even though Duke is 13-1, they've had a number of escapes. Remember the games out of the PK 80, they trailed in the second half in all 3, came back to win all 3. They couldn't do it against Boston College. Had an unbelievable game against Florida State. They've been in a lot of tough games, but against quality competition, they are giving up a lot of points. And that's the case again here tonight.
Well, they certainly have shown, especially in the last few minutes of games, that they have a will to win and believe they can win in every situation. But
Beverly comes up with a loose ball. The kick, the 3, short for Freeman, but the follow for Abu.
Well, Duke is supposed to be the offensive rebounding team, but right now North Carolina State is getting just about what they want.
Carter back in for Duke. Out to Duval for a 3.
Oh, what a big shot for Duval. He hit a huge 3 against Florida State. If I remember right, that's only his 7th made 3 on the season for Duval.
Just 16% on the season. Beverly gets bumped and will head to the free throw line.
Duval looks like he's cramping up. I don't know what happened. It looked like they hit legs there. I'm not sure whether it's a cramp, but he's walking like one. That looks like now he's holding his foot to try to get that cramp out of there.
He doesn't want to come out. He's telling the bench, leave me in. Delorier has come to check in. Duval talking to Coach K. Delorier getting ready to check in, has to wait until after the first free throw to do so.
Well, Dan, to this point in the game, Grayson Allen has only taken 4 shots. And as a senior and an All-America candidate, he's got to be more a part of the offense.
Beverly, as we mentioned, originally was going to Ohio State. Went to school early during the summer session to take a course, started taking the course, then Thad Matta got fired. So then Ohio State released him and said you can go wherever you want. He decided to go to NC State, but because he had enrolled in a summer course, the NCAA initially said you are not eligible this year. And it dragged on for several weeks before finally a waiver was granted. And fortunately, Beverly, who did nothing wrong, all he did was sign up to take a course, and then the coach got fired. They finally released him, and he's turned into the starting point guard here because of the suspension to Johnson.
Well, I'm glad the NCAA finally wised up and made the right decision. It took them way too long, but they got there. I think right now the Duke staff is probably wishing they hadn't, because Braxton Beverly just cut him up with a beautiful pass.
Delorier slams it back home.
Delorier is another fantastic athlete. It really adds a different dimension defensively because he can really get out in passing lanes and can guard multiple positions.
Well, and here's Duke with this huge lineup too, with Delorier, Carter, and Bagley, the front line.
He's trying to ice that ball screen, but then NC State just passed back and went into another one.
Al Freeman stepped back from the elbow.
And North Carolina State is operating as if they do not have any pressure on them at all. But there is a long way to go in this one.
Bagley. And the lefty with a strong move and a finish with a jump hook.
Just so quick. When Delorier passed that ball into him, he just wheeled into the lane and almost shot that down at the basket.
21 now for Bagley. Averaging just about 22 points per game of the season. Beverly, floater, around and out.
I can't go any further down without staying down.
Going to Bagley again. Off his leg, out of bounds. A raucous house here at PNC Arena in Raleigh, and State trying to pull off the upset.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100%.
Doubleheader coming up for you, Super Tuesday. These may be great games. A&M, Kentucky, and then Purdue, Michigan. They may be fantastic games, but the halftime shows will not be as good as what we saw here tonight. That is impressive stuff. And the dog skipping the rope gets all the glory. It's the other two doing the hard work.
You're talking about the dogs? The dogs. But that woman's got 2 ropes. Give her some credit. She dominated.
Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, PNC Arena, Raleigh, North Carolina, Duke, NC State, conference play. And the Wolfpack, who beat Duke at Cameron last year, trying to beat them again here this year. They're up 5, 67-62, 10:34 to go.
NC State is shooting 36% from the field in conference games. There have only been 2 of them. But in the second half of this game, they're shooting 61%, 52% overall in the game against Duke.
And it's not like they're making threes. Each team has only made 2 threes in this game.
Well, the MVP of the game has been Omer Yurtseven.
Yeah.
He's been fantastic.
Freeman can't hit the baseline jumper. Carter down with a rebound. That's the midway point of the second half here in Raleigh. Looking inside to Bagley again. Allen wide open for a 3, not there. Boy, and Duke just doesn't get back in time. That wasn't even like they were racing down the court, but then all of a sudden they had an advantage at the end.
No, they were jogging down the floor, and you wonder if the atmosphere and the amount they've been practicing, maybe they look a little tired, especially the big guys.
Well, and they get they've gotten tonight very little from the bench. Very few bench minutes at all for the Blue Devils tonight.
But they didn't get very many bench minutes against Florida State. And just not a good job defensive. Never stopped the ball. But where are the big guys? I mean, these are 2 big guys in Wendell Carter Jr. and Marvin Bagley III that can really change ends. I mean, these guys can run. And they've been consistently beaten down the floor in this game.
And a State turnover. Duval a little bit out of control, now puts the brakes on. Carter into Bagley, and Bagley, boy, he can go this way, he can go that way. He is so tough to corral.
He's just so instinctive. His footwork is magnificent.
23 now for Bagley. Abu baseline, and a blocked by Bagley.
Trevon Duval has 6 turnovers. Otherwise, he's made some really good plays. Got 16 points and 5 assists.
Allen the lob inside. Carter.
Well, speaking of footwork, to make that quick move baseline, and Wendell Carter just pointed his eye like he needs a replacement contact lens.
And Yurtseven just picked up his 4th foul, and it looked like he was trying to do everything he could not to pick up that foul. Arms looked like they were up in the air. Maybe we'll get a better look at it. He didn't argue the call very much, but that's a potentially pivotal call with 8:20 to go.
And that's one of those things, Dan, where throughout the course of a game, you're going to get caught in a rough position. That was a foul. There's no question. He just threw his chest into him. But you're going to get caught in a rough position. And you can get a bucket back. You cannot get a foul back. And that play there, now Yurtseven is probably going to have to go to the bench for a few minutes before Kevin Keats feels comfortable to keep him in the game for a longer period and finish this thing out. But you can get that bucket back. You cannot get a foul back.
Brief delay. Carter was having a contact lens dealt with. And it looks like Yurtseven is going to come out. Leonard Freeman is at the scores table. We'll find out after this first free throw attempt.
Right, Leonard Freeman's another guy who's had a terrific game. Got 11 points in this one, a couple steals.
Coming up after the game, stay tuned for SportsCenter here on ESPN. We'll break down that Oklahoma-West Virginia game. We'll see how Trae Young did. We'll tell you also if the Greek Freak made it 28 in a row with 20 or more points as the Bucks took on the Wizards tonight in a conversation with Nick Saban in anticipation of the big game on Monday night.
Just don't say that Alabama's good before Monday night, because that's just poison, Dan. It is poison.
So Yurtseven has gone to the bench, and Duke is back within 3.
That means that Abu and Freeman, Leonard Freeman, are going to have to do a great job on the glass against Carter and Bagley.
Dorn with a fadeaway jumper from the baseline.
Dorn has been very solid in this game. Solid on defense. And he's made the most of his opportunities. Now he's guarding Grayson Allen on a little floppy action down low. And they got Wendell Carter on a moving screen.
Timeout on the floor, 7:45 to go. NC State leading Duke by 5. Well, in many ways, you can say it's been the year of the SEC. Last year in the NCAA tournament, 3 teams reached the Elite 8. In the women's basketball championship, South Carolina defeating Mississippi State. In the men's College World Series, Florida over LSU. Of course, Monday night, the College Football National Championship right here on ESPN. It will be Georgia and Alabama. That is a pretty good run. And are you willing to make a pick here?
I've already made my pick.
That's right.
I picked both Georgia and Alabama to win their semifinal, and picked Alabama to win the whole thing.
There you go.
And you know, the UCF thing is really kind of, it's been great theater and it's been fun. I don't think anybody is suggesting that the American is as good a league as the Southeastern Conference, but football needs to stop saying that every game counts for the championship, because none of UCF games counted.
But would you like to see them go to 8? I mean,
they have to. You have to, because no team from a non-Power 5 conference has any legitimate shot to make it. 0. Because you can't get enough quality games, and the big shots are always going to say that, well, they wouldn't have gone undefeated in our league, and there's nothing but big shots on the CFP committee.
A big shot by Al Freeman, and NC State back up by 7.
And to be able to keep this lead with Yurtseven on the bench, I know that Kevin Keats would like to get down to the under 4 timeout with Yurtseven out, so he doesn't pick up that 5th foul and then make the stretch run with him in there. But right now, it's been NC State throwing all the punches.
And a foul from behind on Abu. That's his 4th. He was the guy who came into the game when Yurtseven picked up his 4th.
And he had a hand right in the back of Marvin
Marvin Bagley, but it's not a shooting foul. So Yurt 7 is going to come back into the game with 7:08 to go in regulation.
And he'll have to guard with 4 fouls as tough a cover as there is in the country.
And Duke needs to just go right at him.
Allen the kick. Duval the corner 3.
Not sure that's the shot that Duke wanted there.
Freeman, he's feeling it. Too strong. Yurt 7 with a rebound right in between Bagley and Carter.
And that's why he is so valuable on the floor. That's his 9th rebound of the game to go with 16 points and 3 blocks. And there is zero question that Omer Yurt 7 has been the MVP for North Carolina State in this game. He has been fantastic.
If you look at the numbers of Yurt 7, Leonard, Freeman, and Abu, the 3 front court players, and compare them to Carter and Bagley, who have basically played the whole game, the big guys have played each other to a standstill. Beverly with a beautiful up and under.
What a move by Braxton Beverly to get to the other side of the rim. Basically funneled along the baseline and just took advantage of the angle that he had on Trevon Duval, who was funneling in baseline, and nobody was there in help side position. Wendell Carter had to come from up above to get there, and Marvin Bagley was not in the middle of the lane in help side defense. He was hugged up to his man.
NC State up 8 on number 2 Duke. 3 years ago, they beat number 2 Duke here in this building, and they've got a number of wins, 6 wins against top 10 teams in the last 10 years. Of course, you get a lot of opportunity in the ACC to play against top 10 teams. 3 of those 6 against the Blue Devils. You know, if there's one common theme, I think, that I've heard you say most often in the Duke games that we've done, it's about the help side defense. It's that the weak side defense is not in the proper position for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, that's a function of youth primarily. I mean, right now on the floor, you have a senior in Grayson Allen, and you've got 4 freshmen. Now, they're 4 freshmen that are all first-round draft picks that are going to spend, 10+ years, if healthy, in the NBA, each one of them. But they haven't learned how to play together yet on the defensive end, and that takes some time.
Do you think, as talented as they are, can they win a national championship without their defense improving?
If it stays the way it is now, no. I mean, is it possible? Yes. Because they're so gifted offensively. It's absolutely possible. But the team that they are now will not be the team that they are at the end of the year. This is a team that's going to continue to get better. But right now, usually if you look at the KenPom.com statistics, it can really tell you a lot. And obviously all returns are not in yet. But the teams that have the best chance to win the national championship are going to be ranked in the top 20 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. Now, right now, Duke is the #1 team in offensive efficiency in the country. They're ranked 75th in defense. That kind of spread usually doesn't win a national championship. And right now, Michigan State is ranked in the top 5 in both of those categories. And I think the 2 best teams in the country right now are Michigan State and Villanova. Duke is the most talented team, but because of its youth, it's going to take a while to figure this out. What a pass.
Al Freeman into Leonard Freeman, who is fouled. If it's Carter, it's his 4th.
That was a fantastic pass by Al Freeman. And another time where off the pick and roll, he tried to split it, then pulled it back, and he didn't panic.
And these are 2 guys. Al Freeman, a bigger factor this year than he was in his years at Baylor. And Leonard Freeman is just a different guy at the offensive end than he was in his first 3 years. He didn't play last year, had leg surgery, played with an injured leg 2 years ago. But he's a much bigger factor for the offensive end right now.
Well, when he got here, he's very explosive off the floor. And in some games, you watch him on tape. You watch NC State on tape in their earlier games before this one, and he was having a difficult time scoring over length. But he has not had a difficult time in this game. He's been very, very good all game long.
Bagley making another Bagley kind of play.
They're just so long and fluid.
Got 25.
Freeman came out at 25, and he hadn't played that well for him. What a remarkable basketball player
Marvin Bagley III is.
Boy, Al Freeman commands so much attention when he's got the ball. Dorn spins by Allen, won't go. Leonard Freeman still loose, and the Blue Devils have it. And Duval goes the length of the court to bring him back within 5.
There's the thing that Kevin Keats was trying to avoid, and that's a scramble situation where Duke could get out in transition. 5-on-5, NC State has had a great chance in this. Well, Yurt 7 could have wound up with his 5th there. But he has not dialed back his aggressiveness. He went after that offensive rebound. And that's one of those where a lot of referees call that foul.
And Duval comes out of the game limping from time to time. Had a cramp earlier in the second half, it looked like. And he's going to try to work through it as he disappears into the tunnel. Delorier back into the game.
That makes Grayson Allen into the point guard now for Duke.
5 minutes to go.
Continuous pick and rolls right now for NC State.
Freeman trying to do a lot of the work himself and did draw a foul.
That's some inexperience on Duke's part. Just make him shoot over you. That was a difficult spin in the lane, and he was going to have to make a really difficult shot. So don't bail him out by fouling him.
76% free throw shooter on the season. Long way to go. 4:51 left. But for a new coach here in Raleigh, Kevin Keats taking over for Mark Gottfried. What a win this would be for him and these players and this program if they can somehow pull it off.
Well, just the way that NC State has played in this one should give them the understanding that, hey, we can play. And if we play this hard and this together against the rest of their schedule, NC State's got some wins out there. And I think if you watched them play, and I did, in their first 2 games against Clemson and Notre Dame, you could not have predicted this would happen. But this has been a different team against Duke. NC State has played very, very well and very hard and together in this one, which they did not do against Clemson and Notre Dame.
Lost by 16 at Clemson, lost by 30 in South Bend. Ball is loose and again belongs to Duke.
And that loss to Notre Dame was without Bonzie Colson and basically without Matt Farrell, who got hurt very early on in that game.
Duval checking back in. It's basically been a 5-man show for the Blue Devils tonight. O'Connell's played just a couple of minutes. Brankovic a couple of minutes, and Delorier has played about 10 minutes off the bench. That's it.
I think Duke needs to go into Bagley.
Bagley steps out. Bagley drives and finishes. Another tough shot for Bagley, who's got 27.
Going up against a guy in Yurt 7 who has 4 fouls. And I'll tell you what, Yurt 7 isn't going after like he's got 4.
Another pick and roll. Freeman turns it over. Allen ahead to Trent. And it's down to 3.
Trying to split that ball screen and get through those 2 defenders was a mistake. And that's the one area. NC State has to have a shot every time down.
Dorn, too strong. It belongs to NC State with 3:42 to go. The Wolfpack trying to hang on and pull off a major upset here tonight. Marvin Bagley III trying to make sure that doesn't happen. Player of the Year candidate has 27 on the night, and the Trent layup has brought Duke back within 3. Duke's 13-1, but with a number of close calls. They have come back from some significant second-half deficits already this year to pick up major wins. Can they do it again here tonight? Trailed by as many as 9 tonight, down 3 right now.
And this is the point in all of those games where Duke made a comeback, where this is the part of the game where they own, even as a predominantly young team. But NC State has showed a great deal of grit in this game. But you know, Dan, the last few possessions offensively for NC State, there's been a lot of dribbling, a lot of sort of one-on-one. And the ball has to continue to move. And right now, it's the dribble to pass ratio has been heavily weighted on the dribble side.
Beverly to your 7. Can't get it inside to Leonard Freeman. Now Al Freeman. Shot clock's at 8. Can't get it off. Inside. Follow no. Tip no. Duke ball.
One of the first times all game long that your 7 rushed a shot inside. Every other time he's caught it, he took his time, showed great poise, but he rushed that one.
Trent somehow kept his foot down, but he missed the shot. And we're inside 3 minutes to go. State with the ball and the lead.
Right now for NC State, it doesn't have to be off the first action.
So Beverly says, but once in a while it could be, you know.
Wow. That was big time by Braxton Beverly.
What a huge shot. 6-point lead, Wolfpack. Allen twisting, missed it. Bagley with a follow and is fouled, and your 7 is out of the game.
Just had to let that one go. And I know it's hard for a competitor to do that. But the last 2 fouls for year 7 have been because he challenged something that he shouldn't have. But you got to give him credit. He did a good, but you know, he had both his hands up, but he puts his chest into the, he puts his chest into him and goes like, that's the old thing a couple of years ago, foul him with your chest. Now his arms weren't straight up, and the referees always say, hey, they got to sort of elbows behind the ears type of thing. But you could feel that coming.
Yeah. It's a tough call, but it's a foul.
It is a foul.
Yeah.
It's been called a foul the last 2 years. But one, give year 7 a tremendous amount of credit because he did not let 4 fouls deter him from playing. I mean, he went after it for every second he was in this game and had a fantastic basketball game.
They lose a guy who played great. They bring in a very experienced player in Abdul Malik Abu. As you said, a highly respected guy in the ACC.
Well, he has played some big games in this league. And Abu has scored over 1,000 points, over 700 rebounds in the ACC. That doesn't happen by accident. Right now, free throw blockouts are big plays. Marvin Bagley III, although he has improved from the free throw line, is still not a great free throw shooter. So a free throw box out here is a big play.
6 of 8 now tonight. Make it 7 of 9. Pressure.
Full court pressure. 1-2-2.
Bagley up top right now guarding Dorn. Now they switch back.
Yeah.
Again, the ball screen. Dorn from the corner. Knocks down a 3. Well, Bagley doing a nice job, too, running the offense.
Well, he had Leonard Freeman open on one side and then Dorn open on the other. Well, that's two gigantic plays by Braxton Beverly as a freshman. NC State has shown a tremendous amount of heart in this game. And I'll tell you what, Dan, I don't know who among us thought that NC State would be looking at the last 2 minutes being up 7 with a chance to go up 9 in this one.
After getting blown out on Wednesday by Notre Dame. State 15 of 16 as a team from the line tonight.
Braxton Beverly from Hazard, Kentucky. You mentioned that he started his career at Ohio State. A near 3-to-1 assist turnover ratio in his last 3 games, averaging over 13 points and 6 assists. And he's been great again here.
And again, thrust into a much larger role because of the suspension of Markel Johnson. Bagley driving on Abu, and Abu is called for the foul. That will be the 4th on Abu. The fifth, excuse me, that is the fifth on Abu, so he is out of the game.
That's so tough right now to stay in front of Marvin Bagley, and you basically have to have help come over. And Duke has been isolating him in the low block on the left side, and there got him the ball and isolated him up near the elbow, where they used to isolate Jabari Parker a lot, where he could just take the ball and go.
But Bagley's even taller and longer than Parker, and incredible reach. So Abu fouls out, and now NC State will go smaller. This is a lineup that they've used at times this season, especially before Abu came back, when Torin Dorn really is the foreman.
And right now, when you're going smaller, you know, Duke is bigger, but NC State can play lower. And so they need to use their leverage and play lower and get up underneath guys like Marvin Bagley, and Javin DeLaurier is out on the floor right now. Just because they're smaller doesn't mean they can't be really effective. Well, Bagley has been incredibly productive. I think the only game that he wasn't incredibly productive was Michigan State, where he got hurt.
Right, got poked in the eye by DeLaurier. He's got 30 and 10 tonight.
Pretty good two-game stretch to have 32 and 21, and then 30 and 10.
Stepping up in conference play. But Duke down 7. NC State 90 seconds away from a significant upset. Dorn handling with DeLaurier on him. Now Freeman. The clock is their ally. Freeman spins. Out of bounds, still State ball, just 2 on the shot clock. And Kevin Keats will not use a timeout. He's going to let him play it out. With 2 on the shot clock, it'll be the freshman Batts, who was terrific in the first half tonight, to inbound. Dorn will get a look. Unbelievable. Knocks down the 3 and fouled as well.
Torin Dorn came into this game shooting 28% from 3. He was 8 of 29 coming into this game. Found himself open, set his feet, took the hit, and never took his eyes off the rim. I mean, that was a bad foul by Javin DeLaurier, but what a magnificent shot by Torin Dorn.
And suddenly the lead is 11 with barely a minute to go. Allen gets a wide open look. Tipped back in by DeLaurier. Timeout Duke. But it's still a 9-point game, less than a minute to go, as every time Duke made a run, NC State has had the answer.
Boy, what a play with just 2 seconds left.
It is rocking in Raleigh tonight.
You think the Pack believes in Kevin Keats now? He gave them all the keys on how they can win this game, and for the most part, NC State has executed very, very well. But think about this one, Dan. Right now, Duke has given up 91 points with just under a minute left to NC State. A team who has not been scoring 91 points in their games against major college teams. Thus far, Duke's given up 89 to Boston College, 93 to Florida State, and then 91 to NC State in their 3 ACC games.
And in grave jeopardy of dropping to 1 and 2 in conference play.
The #1 offensive team in the country. And Duke's defense has a long way to go.
And the foul will send Beverly to the free throw line. Kevin Keats will take that.
And Braxton Beverly, in some of the bigger games that NC State's had, he has played very well. He had 20 points against Arizona. He scored 15 against Clemson. And he has been a strong contributor in this one. Really an impressive freshman.
DeLaurier just fouled out of the game, so O'Connell, who played just a single minute in the first half, back in for the Blue Devils. Beverly 4 for 4 from the line tonight.
Again, if this lead holds up for NC State, and there's every indication that it will, I think at the end of the game there'll be more than 13 bodies on this floor. I'm just guessing.
I think you're right. And a lot of them are sitting right behind us, so buckle up. They're coming. Trent. Dorn down to the rebound and fouled by Allen. They'll walk the floor again. And it's all just a matter of time right now.
But what a performance by North Carolina State.
No way to see it coming, given their performances in the last week.
No, I don't think anyone would have predicted this unless you were wearing red. But you have to give Kevin Keatts, his staff, and these players a lot of credit to bounce back from the thrashing this team took up in South Bend, and to pull this off. That's really an incredible statement about the heart of this NC State team.
And they're getting ready. This will be the first time that NC State beats Duke twice in a row since the 1994-95 season. They beat them twice in 95, in early 95. They beat them last year at Cameron, and they're on the cusp of beating them here tonight, although Allen knocks down a 3. To bring it down to 9 with 41.6 to go, and Mike Krzyzewski will use his last timeout.
Well, North Carolina State did a lot of things very well in this game, but nothing better in the second half than the way they handled their screen and roll situations. And we talked about how in defending pick and roll, it's got to be all 5 guys, and the priority is the ball. And North Carolina State able to find open people, and Duke a little bit confused on the weak side, hugging up to their men. See, there's nobody in the lane right now for Duke, and NC State taking total advantage of it in the second half. And in the first half, Duke covered up playing a 2-3 zone for a fair amount of the last 10 minutes of the first half. In the second half, it's been all man. And NC State has taken advantage of it to the tune of 94 points.
And the Wolfpack, who played Clemson just last week and lost, will get another shot at the Tigers. They have them at home here on Thursday on ESPN, then at Virginia Sunday afternoon on ESPNU. No easy games in the ACC.
All right, if they scored 94 against Virginia, that wouldn't be a surprise. That would be a shock. That would be the earth spinning in the other direction type of thing.
Duke, meanwhile, will be at Pittsburgh. They'll face Pitt a couple of times in the next couple of weeks. They get a tough game at Miami. Should be a good one on ESPN January the 15th. 41 seconds to go. State ball up by 9. Duke out of timeouts. Wolfpack Nation getting ready.
Well, they need to get ready to inbound the ball. It's a 3-possession game.
Batts is fouled.
And Batts did a really nice job when he came into this game. He injected a lot of energy into the lineup, made some great plays on both ends of the floor, and gave some really quality minutes to Kevin Keatts when he came into the game.
If there was any, hey, it's a freshman, huge game, #2 team in the country, you didn't see that at all.
No, he was
from Batts.
totally unafraid coming into this one.
Yeah, from the moment he came in off the bench in the first half, he made great play after great play and confident play after confident play.
Well, he played well against Penn State and did a pretty darn good job against Clemson and Notre Dame. Yeah, he wound up, I think he had 6 points against Notre Dame and 7 against Penn State.
The numbers will not reflect the impact he's had on the game.
And when you think to this point in the season, NC State, if you count this as a win, it looks like it will be. You know, to have beaten Arizona, Penn State, and Duke, you know, that shows that this team's got some ability.
Jack White is in the game for Duke. So is Jordan Goldwire, along with Vrankovic. Justin Robinson's in as well. The starters are out. No more fouling. The shot clock is turned off, and the Wolfpack will defeat Duke for the second time in a row. They got him last year in Durham, and they got him tonight here in Raleigh. A terrific performance by NC State to take down the Blue Devils here tonight.
And Duke going to leave the floor early, worried about the court storming.
puts up 96 points on the Blue Devils tonight. They had 6 players in double figures, and they knock off the #2 team of the nation, 96-85. We're going to send it briefly to SportsCenter, then we're going to bring it right back here to Raleigh and to visit with one of the Wolfpack players. A pretty good night to be a member of the Pack as they take down Duke.
What a scene it is there in Raleigh. Michael Lee, Zuba Mahinti with you here on SportsCenter. We had some tremendous performances in college basketball today.
With Omer Yurtseven, one of the stars of the show for the Wolfpack tonight, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks. What was the key to beating Duke tonight?
It was just staying on it, to be honest. They came back every single lead that we took, but we just stood on it. It's an amazing feeling.
Well, your coach Kevin Keats had talked about keeping Duke off the offensive glass, and you were a huge factor in that with your rebounding and your presence inside. But we had talked during the course of the game, your poise, when you caught the ball inside, never once did you rush. Talk about the feeling that you had when you got the ball against that big front line.
I mean, it's just all the focus is on scoring. That's all you try to do, and I think we did it as a team, did a pretty good job. I'm just happy.
Now, how did this NC State team lose by 30 at Notre Dame and come back and beat the #2 team in the country?
I feel like that just shows the mental strength that we have as a team. I hope this win just starts and initiates a streak. I'm just counting on it.
Well, tell us what this means. A lot of new players, a new head coach. What does this win mean for the program?
I mean, it's a new era, as Coach Keith said. I mean, you can't really explain this feeling until you live it. It's a huge win. We had this same type of feeling last year, but it's amazing, man.
You want to go celebrate?
Yeah.
Go celebrate. Thank you. Congratulations.